Ambassador Leo Brandt took a deep breath and stepped off the Earth shuttle onto the shining floors of Unity Spire, the largest space station in the galaxy. It was his first time attending a galactic summit. He was Earth's only representative, among 42 alien civilizations, and he felt the weight of that responsibility on his shoulders. He walked carefully through the wide halls, trying to follow the glowing blue arrows that pointed toward the assembly hall. The station was beautiful. Its walls pulsed gently with colored lights, and the air smelled clean like rain. Alien diplomats walked past him, some tall and thin, others short and round, some with feathers, others with scales. Every being seemed to know exactly where they were going. Except for him. Leo checked his digital assistant again. "Turn left at corridor B12, it said. He looked around. Left, right. Everything looked the same. High metal doors, no labels he could understand, and soft sounds coming from behind them. He took a left, as instructed, and soon found himself in front of a large door guarded by two tall beings with dark armor. Their eyes glowed faintly, and they didn't move as he approached. Leo paused. Assembly hall?" he asked. The guard said nothing. Maybe they didn't speak Terran Standard. "I must be in the wrong place," he muttered, and turned to leave. But the door behind the guards slid open with a soft hiss. A voice called from inside, deep and smooth. "Let him in." Leo hesitated. That wasn't the assembly hall, was it? Still, the guard stepped aside silently, inviting him in. He swallowed hard. Maybe this was a private meeting room, a customs check? Either way, someone inside clearly expected him. He stepped through the doorway. The room was quiet and dim, with strange glowing symbols floating in the air. At the far end, sitting on a high black throne that seemed to hum with power, was Queen Zelvara of the Obsidian Accord. Leo recognized her immediately. Her face was sharp and alien, with 6 large eyes that shimmered like oil on water. Her body was covered in elegant black armor that looked like it had grown from her skin. 2 long arms rested on the throne, while smaller limbs moved slowly in the air, tracing glowing shapes. He froze. This was definitely the wrong room. "I'm sorry," he said quickly. "Wrong room." But the alien queen just smiled. And then, she said calmly, "I know." Leo blinked. "Wait! You knew I wasn't supposed to come here?" The queen stood, tall and graceful. "Correct. And yet you came anyway." "I didn't mean to," he replied, nervous. "I was trying to find the assembly hall." She walked toward him slowly, her movements quiet and smooth, like a dancer. "Of course you were," she said, "but perhaps you were meant to find something else." Leo didn't know how to respond. He had been trained for political speeches, treaty negotiations, and careful diplomacy. Not whatever this was. "I'll leave," he offered. "No trouble, just a mix-up." Queen Zelvara tilted her head. "No trouble at all. I allowed you in for a reason." Leo frowned. "You expected me?" She walked past him and touched a control on the wall. A small hologram appeared. Of Earth. Blue, oceans, white clouds, and all. Then images flicked through history, rockets launching, cities glowing, people building, exploring, fighting, surviving. "I've watched your world for a long time," she said. Leo stared. "Why?" "Curiosity," she answered simply. "Your species was not part of our early predictions. You were unplanned, and yet here you are, bold, fast, surprising." He cleared his throat. "So you were spying on us?" She gave a small laugh. "Observing. There is a difference." Leo had no idea what game she was playing, but he had to keep calm. "Look, Queen Zelvara, I appreciate your interest in Earth, but I really should get to the summit." "You will," she said. "But first tell me something." She turned to face him fully. "Do you think humanity belongs among the stars?" Leo blinked again. That was a big question. Yes, he said after a moment. We've made mistakes. We've learned. And now we want to stand beside others. Not above, not below, just equal. The Queen looked at him closely. An honest answer. She stepped back toward her throne. Many here do not think as you do. Some believe your species is too young, too dangerous, too wild. Leo folded his arms. And what do you believe? The Queen smiled again. I believe wild things grow. Strong. I believe chaos creates change. The room fell silent for a moment. Leo felt like something big had just happened, but he wasn't sure what it was. Go now, Ambassador Brandt, she said softly. Speak well. The others will test you. But remember this moment. Remember that someone was watching and smiling. Leo nodded slowly. All right. Thank you. I think. As he stepped back through the door, the guards said nothing. The hallway was just as empty and confusing as before, but now it felt different, like the galaxy had just gotten a little more complicated, or maybe he had. Leo Brandt walked quickly down the long, glowing halls of Unity Spire, his heart still beating faster than usual. He had just left the private chamber of Queen Zelvara, ruler of the Obsidian Accord. He was still trying to understand why she had invited him in, or how she even knew who he was. He soon found the correct entrance to the assembly hall where the Galactic Summit was taking place. The hall was wide and bright, filled with floating chairs and hovering platforms. Representatives of over 40 alien species were already in place, talking quietly with their assistants or staring at large screens showing maps of galaxies and lists of agreements. Leo's seat, marked with Earth's symbol, a small blue and green globe, was near the back. As he sat down, a voice beside him spoke. You are late, human. Leo turned. It was a tall alien with silver skin and narrow green eyes. He wore a white robe and a serious expression. Sorry, Leo replied. I got a little lost. The alien gave a small nod but didn't seem interested in more conversation. Leo looked around. Most of the other delegates weren't paying attention to him, but a few glanced his way, then looked quickly away. He was Earth's first ambassador here, and it was clear many still didn't take humans seriously. Just then, a soft sound came from his personal device. A message. He tapped it. From Zelvara. Message. I enjoyed our conversation. If you are not afraid, join me again tonight. Chamber 9. Leo stared at the message. What did she mean by, if you are not afraid? And why did she want to talk again? He was still thinking about it when the grand speaker floated into the center of the hall, glowing with soft light. Let the summit begin, the voice announced, over. The next few hours, delegates spoke about trade, security, science sharing, and planetary rules. Some spoke with great pride, others with long-winded speeches. Leo listened closely, taking notes, waiting for a good moment to speak. But Earth's name was never mentioned, not once. He wasn't surprised. Earth had only joined the Galactic Council last year. To most of these civilizations, humans were still new, still untested, still small. He hoped that would change soon. After the summit ended for the day, Leo returned to his room. It was quiet, with a large window showing a beautiful view of stars and planets in the distance. He sat on the edge of the bed and looked again at Queen Zelvara's message. Should he go? It might be risky. He still didn't know what she wanted from him, or from Earth. But something about her words, her eyes, and her calm way of speaking made him curious. And truthfully, a little excited. He stood up. All right, he said. Let's find out. Chamber 9 was on the top level of the station. The door opened the moment he arrived. No guards this time. Just a quiet hallway lit with soft blue lights. He stepped inside. The room was warmer than the others. There were tall windows showing black space outside. Strange floating crystals glowed gently in the corners. In the center, Queen Zelvara stood alone, without her crown, without her guards. "Ambassador Brandt," she said, "you came." "I wasn't sure if I should," Leo replied honestly. "And yet, here you are," she said with a smile. He stepped closer. "You said you've been watching Earth. For how long?" "Long before your kind looked up and named the stars," she said. "We study many worlds, but yours is different." Leo raised an eyebrow. "Different how?" The Queen walked to one of the windows. "Most young species grow slowly. They build, they wait, they learn, but your people, they rise quickly, they push limits, they ask too many questions, and most of all, they don't give up." "We've had no choice," Leo said. "We've made mistakes, big ones, but we've also kept going." She turned to him. "That's what I admire. Your kind does not stop, even when others say you should." Leo studied her. Her voice was calm, but her eyes, those 6 shimmering eyes, were full of thought. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. "Because," she said, "soon others will try to push your people down. They fear what they don't control." "Fear us?" Leo said, surprised. "We're not a threat to anyone." "Perhaps not yet," she replied. "But strength is not only about weapons or numbers. Sometimes it's about spirit. And your kind has it." Leo took a deep breath. "So, are you warning me?" "I am preparing you," she said. "The summit will grow more difficult. There are those who want Earth silenced. They think your presence is a mistake." Leo felt a chill. "But you don't think that?" "No," she said. "I think your presence is a gift, a chance for the galaxy to change." He was quiet for a moment, thinking. "You talk like someone who's seen a lot," he said. "I have lived for over 300 cycles," she replied. "I have seen wars, peace, and many lost hopes. But I have never seen a species quite like yours." Leo gave a small smile. "We try," she nodded. "And that is why I will stand with you." Leo blinked. "Wait, stand with us? Publicly?" "In time," she said. "But for now, listen, watch, speak wisely. The others are waiting for you to make one wrong move." He nodded. "I understand." Queen Zelvara walked closer and held out a strange, glowing stone. "This will connect you to me. Use it only when you must." Leo took it gently. It felt warm, like it was alive. "Thank you," he said. She smiled. "You are welcome, Ambassador. Now go. Tomorrow we'll bring new voices, some loud, some dangerous. Be ready." Leo turned to leave, but then looked back one more time. "Why me?" he asked. "You could have spoken to any human." Queen Zelvara looked at him kindly. "Because," she said, "you were the one who stepped into the wrong room and stayed." The next morning, the assembly hall was filled with noise. Voices in many languages echoed across the wide chamber. Lights blinked softly on the tall walls, showing data, news, and live feeds from across the galaxy. The Galactic Summit was in full motion now. Ambassador Leo Brandt sat in his chair quietly. He was watching, listening, thinking. After his private meeting with Queen Zelvara the night before, nothing felt the same. She had warned him that some delegates did not want Earth in the council. Now, as he looked around the room, he wondered who they were. Who might be friendly, and who might want him gone? The Grand Speaker floated into the center of the hall again. "Today's topic," the voice called out, "is wormhole access and travel lanes." This was important. Earth's ships were still slow compared to most alien vessels. If Earth could get access to more wormholes, humans could trade, travel, and explore faster. It would change everything. One by one, the delegates began to speak. A creature made of swirling mist spoke first. Earth is too new. It has not proven itself. The old paths remain closed. A tall delegate with shining blue skin stood. We cannot allow unstable species to move freely. It risks too much. Leo's turn came. He stood slowly and cleared his throat. Members of the council, he said, Earth understands it is young, but youth should not mean silence. We ask only for fairness, nothing more. Some listened, others turned away. Then something strange happened. Queen Zelvara rose from her high platform. I support Earth's request, she said calmly. The room fell quiet. The Obsidian Accord was one of the oldest and strongest empires in the galaxy. When the Queen spoke, others paid attention. I have watched their growth, she continued. I have seen their strength, not just in weapons or ships, but in heart. They deserve a chance. Some delegates began to murmur. Others looked confused, even angry. Leo was surprised too, but thankful. After the summit ended for the day, he left the hall quickly. He walked toward his quarters, still thinking about the Queen's public support. It was a bold move. But then, something felt wrong. The hallway was too quiet. The lights flickered once. He paused. His instincts told him someone was watching. He turned. Nothing. He kept walking, now faster. As he reached his room, the door opened automatically. He stepped inside. Just before the door closed behind him, he heard a soft click, like a small machine. Moving! He spun around. A small silver object flew past his shoulder. Fast, Leo ducked. The object hit the wall and sparked. He reached into his bag and pulled out a small tool, half a scanner, half a shield generator. He activated the shield and held it up. Another object buzzed through the air toward him. The shield blocked it just in time. Leo scanned the room. Computer, he said calmly. Lock the door. Emergency mode. Confirmed, the system replied. The lights in the room turned red. The small flying drone hovered near the ceiling, its metal body smooth and shiny, with one glowing red eye. Identify, Leo demanded. The drone did not answer. It simply turned and rushed toward him again. Leo dropped to the floor, rolled, and pointed his scanner. Disable code Echo 12-4. The drone shook, sparks flew, and it crashed to the ground with a soft thud. He breathed out slowly. Then, his device buzzed. A message appeared. From Zelvara message, you are being watched, not by me. Be careful. He picked up the drone. It was unlike anything from the station's security team. Whoever sent it wasn't following the rules. Leo called the station guard and handed over the pieces. He didn't explain everything, just enough to make them stay alert. Then he sat on the bed, thinking. Queen Zelvara had warned him. She had even supported Earth at the summit. And now, someone had tried to scare him, or worse. That night, he received another message from Zelvara. Message: the others do not know yet, but they will. And when they do, they will need you. He stared at the message. What did she mean? Why him? Was she the only one who believed in Earth, or was something much larger happening behind the scenes? The next morning, the summit continued. Delegates acted as if nothing had happened. No one mentioned the drone. No one spoke of threats. But Leo could feel the difference now. This was more than politics. It was a game of trust, power, and quiet danger. And Earth had just stepped into the middle of it. As he took his seat, he saw Queen Zelvara look his way from across the chamber. She didn't speak. She didn't smile. But she gave him a small, slow nod. Leo nodded back. He didn't know what would happen next. But one thing was clear. He was no longer just the ambassador from a small planet. He was now a piece in a much larger puzzle, and someone, maybe more than one, wanted him to lose. Ambassador Leo Brandt sat alone in his room, holding the strange, glowing stone Queen Zelvara had given him. It still felt warm, like it was alive. He had hidden it safely inside his travel case. But tonight, he needed answers. Too many things were happening at once. Earth had been supported by one of the galaxy's most powerful rulers. That was unexpected. A stealth drone had attacked him, also unexpected. And the message from the Queen kept repeating in his mind. They do not know yet, but they will. Leo took a deep breath. Then he touched the stone gently. It glowed brighter. Soft light filled the room, and a voice spoke calmly, directly into his mind. Come, I will show you. He followed the direction sent by the stone, taking quiet halls up to a level he hadn't seen before. There were no guards, no cameras, just a single round door that opened by itself when he approached. Inside, Queen Zelvara waited. This time, she was not wearing her usual black armor. She wore a flowing robe, deep purple with small silver lights that looked like stars. I knew you would come, she said softly. Leo nodded. You said you would show me something. She motioned for him to sit beside a glowing table. A large screen appeared above it, showing images of stars, planets, and strange shapes. What is this? Leo asked. History, Zelvara replied. Very old history, long before your kind learned to write. She touched a control, and the screen zoomed into a small blue planet. Earth. This was one of our test worlds, she said. Leo frowned. What do you mean, test world? We, my ancestors, sent pieces of life across many young planets. Simple cells, seeds, genetic codes. We wanted to see what would grow. Leo stared at the image of Earth. So, you created us? No, she said, shaking her head slowly. We planted the first sparks, but you grew in ways we never expected. You changed. You adapted. You survived everything. She looked at him carefully. You became something new. Leo leaned back. So we're just part of some alien science project? You were, she said, but your people took their own path. We thought Earth would fail, that it would be quiet and forgotten. But it wasn't, Leo said firmly. No, she agreed. It became loud and full of fire. She showed images of Earth's early civilizations, ancient cities, battles, discoveries. Then came rockets, satellites, space stations. We watched from far away, she said, and we asked ourselves, how did this happen? Leo was quiet for a moment. Why are you telling me this now? Because, she said, soon others will find out too, and they will not be pleased. Why not? He asked. They do not. Like surprises, she replied, especially not ones that grow stronger. Leo understood now. Earth wasn't just new. It was unexpected, unplanned. That made some species nervous. I thought we were just behind, Leo said. I didn't know we were different. You are, the Queen said, and that is not a weakness. It is a gift. Leo looked at the screen again. Earth floated there, small but bright. So, what happens now? He asked. Do you want to protect us? Or control us? Queen Zelvara turned away from the screen and faced him directly. I want to walk beside you, she said. Not above, not below. Beside. Leo was surprised. Why? Because, she said, the galaxy has been quiet for too long. Old powers keep doing the same things, making the same rules. But your people? They challenge everything. You ask questions, you break limits. That energy is rare, it is needed. Leo smiled a little. Most of the time, people just say we're difficult. She laughed gently. That too. He leaned forward. So, the others at the summit, if they find out we came from your experiment, They'll try to block us. Some will, she said. They will say you do not belong, that you are not natural, that you should not be allowed to lead. But we didn't ask to be created, Leo said. We made our own future. That is the truth, she agreed. And that truth must be told. Leo looked serious. Then help me. Let's tell it together. She nodded. When the time is right. There was a long silence. Outside the windows, stars moved slowly past. Then Leo spoke again. Why me, though? Why not speak to someone more powerful? More important? You stepped into the wrong room, she said. But you stayed. You listened. You asked questions, not with pride, but with honesty. That is rare. Leo nodded slowly. He wasn't sure what would happen next, but he knew this was bigger than just a political mission now. It was about truth and survival. I won't let Earth be pushed aside, he said. I believe you, Queen Zelvara replied. That's why I smiled. She handed him a small disc, glowing with soft light. This holds the full history, she said. Use it when the time comes. Leo took it carefully. It felt heavy, not in weight, but in meaning. He stood. Thank you, he said. Be careful, she warned. The shadows are moving. Some will strike before they speak. He gave a firm nod, then he left the chamber, holding the disc close. He had come to represent a young planet. Now he held the truth of its ancient past. And soon, the galaxy would know it too. Ambassador Leo Brandt stood in front of the tall window in his room aboard Unity Spire. The stars outside seemed calm, but he knew trouble was coming. He held the small glowing disc Queen Zelvara had given him. It carried the truth, Earth's connection to ancient alien experiments, and the hidden history no one else knew. He was no longer just a speaker for Earth. He was the keeper of something much bigger. Leo turned away from the window and opened a secure message channel. He recorded a short video for the Earth Council. Earth is not what we thought it was, he began. But we are not less because of it. We are more. He sent the message, then prepared for the next day's summit session. He had a plan. One he hoped would change everything. The assembly hall was louder than usual. Whispers spread between delegates. News had started to leak, rumors that Earth's origin might be connected to old alien experiments. No one said it directly, but Leo could feel the eyes watching him. The grand speaker appeared in the center of the room. Today, we open the floor to open discussion, the voice said. Any matter may be raised. A delegate with silver feathers floated forward. I request that Earth's access to wormhole lanes be paused until its history is fully studied. Another stood. There is concern. Earth's rise is fast, too fast. And now there are secrets. Leo stood slowly. Permission to speak? Granted, said the grand speaker. Leo walked to the center, his heart beating hard but steady. He looked at the many alien faces around him. You are all wondering the same thing, he began. Is Earth unnatural? Was it created by someone else? Is that why we are here? He paused. The answer is yes and no. The room fell quiet. Yes, long ago, a few species, maybe even some of yours, sent small sparks of life across the stars, Leo continued. One of those sparks reached Earth. But what grew was not planned, not designed. It was something unexpected. He looked around. We made our own history, our own choices, our own mistakes. No one controlled us. No. One gave us power. We built it ourselves, step by step, year by year. He touched the disc and let it hover in the air. It glowed brightly, showing images, Earth's history, Earth's pain, and Earth's progress. We are not a mistake, he said. We are a miracle. Some delegates leaned forward. Others looked unsure. Leo's voice grew stronger. Yes, we are young, but we are also brave. We ask questions. We learn fast. We do not give up. And we are here now, not because we were invited, but because we earned it. Queen Zelvara stood quietly, watching him with calm eyes. Leo took a deep breath. We don't want to lead the galaxy. We don't want to rule. We just want to walk beside you, with honesty, with effort, and with the same right as anyone else. A soft murmur spread across the room. Then a delegate stood. She was from the Crystal Enclave, a peaceful group of thinkers. I support Earth, she said clearly. They speak not with pride, but with truth. Others stood after her. I support Earth, said a glowing jelly-like being. I do too, said a tall insect-like ambassador, but not everyone agreed. A voice from the shadows growled, They are dangerous. You have been fooled by kind words. Leo turned toward the voice. A group of delegates from an older empire stood together. Their leader, tall and armored, spoke with cold strength. They are a threat to order, he said. Their rise must be stopped. Suddenly, lights flickered. A warning tone echoed in the hall. Security breach, Sector 4. The screen flashed red. The delegates began to speak at once. Leo touched his ear. What's happening? A voice answered through his communicator. Someone has activated a lockdown. It's targeted. They're trying to trap Earth's delegate. Before Leo could move, the floor beneath him began to shift. But just then, Queen Zelvara raised her hand. A circle of black light surrounded Leo. Her elite guards, silent and fast, appeared beside him in seconds. This is an attack, she said. Not a debate. The Grand Speaker demanded order. Zelvara turned toward the angry delegates. You try to silence a voice not with reason, but with fear. That is not the way of this council. One of the attackers stepped forward, eyes burning. He is not one of us. But I am, Leo said. And I'm not going anywhere. The lights returned to normal. The red warning faded. The attackers were removed quietly by station guards. Silence filled the room. Then, applause. Not loud. Not all. But enough. Queen Zelvara looked at Leo with calm pride. You did well, she said through a private channel. Leo sat back down, his hands still shaking slightly. He had spoken the truth, and some had listened. Later, in his room, Leo stared at the stars again. He didn't know what the future would hold. Earth was still new, still small. But today, they had stood tall. They had faced old power with new truth. His communicator beeped. A message from Queen Zelvara. The galaxy is watching now. You showed them who you are and who we may all become. Leo smiled. It was only the beginning, but it was a strong one. The day after the near attack at the summit, Unity Spire was quieter than usual. The lights seemed softer. The voices in the halls were calm, almost respectful. Word had spread quickly about the speech, the danger, and Queen Zelvara's open support for Earth. Ambassador Leo Brandt walked slowly through the corridor toward the main chamber. He felt different now. Not just like a visitor or a new delegate, but like someone who had earned a place. When he entered the assembly hall, many eyes turned toward him, some curious, some cautious, and some, for the first time, respectful. Queen Zelvara stood at her usual platform, dressed once again in her glowing black armor. She gave Leo a small nod. He nodded back. The Grand Speaker floated to the center. Today's final proposal comes from the Obsidian Accord, the voice said. Queen Zelvara, you may present your motion. She stepped forward gracefully. Her 6 eyes scanned the room. For too long, she began. This council has followed the same path. It has chosen comfort over curiosity, control over change. But the galaxy does not stand still, and neither should we. There were murmurs. Across the hall, she continued. I propose a new alliance, one not based on age or power, but on potential. I propose an accord between the Obsidian Empire and Earth. The room went silent. "This is not an offer of protection," she said. "Nor is it a gift. It is a partnership, equal, open, and based on mutual learning." Leo stood slowly. He had not been told this would happen. "Earth accepts the offer," he said clearly, "with pride and with peace." A moment passed. Then the hall filled with voices, some raised in support, others in debate. A small group of older delegates stood. "This is dangerous," one said. "You change the balance of power." "It is already changing," Zelvara replied calmly. "The choice is whether you join it or fight it." The Grand Speaker called for a vote. One by one, the delegates pressed their choices. The results appeared slowly, floating in the air. Yes, 28 votes. No, 10 votes. Neutral, 4 votes. The motion passed. Leo let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Queen Zelvara turned to him. "You are no longer alone." That evening, a celebration was held in the Unity Spire's central dome. Light displays shimmered across the glass ceiling. Music from different worlds played gently in the background. Leo stood near the edge of the room, watching beings from dozens of planets talk, laugh, and eat together. He still felt like the same man who had once gotten lost in the station halls. But everything had changed. Queen Zelvara approached quietly. "You spoke with strength," she said. "You stood with us first," Leo replied. "That made the difference." "No," she said with a small smile. "You made the choice to stay in the wrong room. That changed everything." They looked up at the stars beyond the glass. "Do you think they'll accept us?" Leo asked. "Truly?" "Some will," she said. "Some never will. But now they must face you with truth, not fear." He nodded. "I want Earth to grow, to learn, but I want us to stay honest too." "That is what makes your kind different," Zelvara said. "You fall, but then you rise." A delegate from another world walked by and nodded politely to Leo. A small but clear sign of respect. Leo turned back to the Queen. "What now?" She held up a new glowing disc. "Now you return home. Share what you've learned. Prepare your people. Because this," she said, looking out at the stars, "is only the beginning." Later that week, Leo stood aboard an Earth ship, heading back toward the solar system. The stars ahead seemed brighter somehow. The ship was quiet, and he had time to think. He opened his message log and began recording to Earth Council. "This is Ambassador Leo Brandt, returning from the Galactic Summit. We are no longer guests. We are now part of something far greater. We have an ally, Queen Zelvara, and we have a voice. We must use it wisely." He paused, then smiled. "We came here wondering if we belonged. Now we know. Not because someone let us in, but because we proved ourselves." Back on Unity Spire, Queen Zelvara stood in her private chamber. She looked at a new screen showing a list of rising planets. Earth's name was now in the top tier. One of her advisors entered. "Was it wise to move so quickly?" the advisor asked. "Yes," she replied, "because he was ready." "And what of the others?" the advisor asked. Zelvara looked out, the window, where small shadows moved across distant stars. "They are watching," she said. "Some will smile, some will not." She turned back to the screen. "But the human stood tall," she said softly. "And the galaxy will never be the same."